What's up, everybody? Thanks for checking out Hunt, Shoot, Live. I'm super pumped about today's episode. I've got the Gamo Swarm Magnum Gen 2 22 cal pellet rifle today, and this video is going to be the conclusion of a series of videos that I started with the Swarm Magnum and with my Swarm Whisper months and months ago. So if you guys have been keeping up with what's been going on, this is the final update. For those of you who haven't been keeping up with it, and this is the first video you're checking out, be sure to go back and watch my other videos. Go back to check out my pellet rifle playlist. You'll find all of the videos that I've done previously. But just let me give you a little summary of what started this journey. I thought it would be a great idea to take the pellet rifle and I hunt a lot and take a lot of different game animals, and I had several bear skulls that I didn't care about. I had got some big Angus bull skulls and had several different animal skulls that I had acquired that I didn't need them for anything, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to take the Swarm Magnum and I'm going to test the penetration on these different skulls, and I was just doing it for fun. And I was so impressed with the Swarm Magnum's performance on those skulls. You guys go back and check out the video. I'm thinking it was 50 yards that I was shooting. I had penetrations even on the Angus cow skull. So posted the video, people loved it. I had a lot of different responses, and some people were saying, no, it's going to be different. The fact that there's no skin on it, there's no hair on it, the fact that it's an old bleached out skull, all of that made all the difference. It wouldn't do it if it were otherwise. So the next video I did, I actually had acquired a deer head off of a friend who had one in a freezer, and he was going to do a European mount and then changed his mind. So he said, hey, you can have this and shoot it. So I did a test with the Swarm Whisper at that point at 20 yards, 20 or 30. You guys can watch the video to see. Had some great penetration on it with the Swarm Whisper. And people commented on that. Nope, still not the same. It's been frozen and then thawed, and then it's a dead deer. It's not on the deer. It's not the same. Not the same thing. So, okay. Or people also wanted to see me do it with the Swarm Magnum again instead of using the Swarm Whisper. So, I acquired another deer head, and this was when we were in the off season. It wasn't deer season. And unfortunately, he had it skinned. It was completely skinned, and he just saved the head. I think he was going to maybe do a European mount on it, so he went ahead and had ripped the flesh off. Wasn't 100% pleased because I wish the hide had been on it. A lot of people really liked the video anyway, but people were still sharing the same sentiment that I had. We need a fresh deer. We need a freshly killed deer, and that's the only way to know what this thing's going to do. And in Virginia, where I'm at, you guys check your local game laws, and I'm certainly not condoning shooting a deer with a 22 pellet rifle. It is not legal to do that here in Virginia where I'm at. Couldn't do it even if I wanted to. I don't want to. I have great hunting rifles that I'm going to use. This is just for fun. This is just to see if it would do it. Worst case scenario, I'm in a survival situation and the pellet rifle's what I got. Would it take a deer? So, we're in deer season right now in Virginia. And I had said when deer season comes in, I'm going to kill a doe specifically for the purpose of when I kill that thing, I'm bringing it straight home, and I am filming the video. I am getting the shots to the head with a fresh deer. So here we are. I've done it. It's deer season. I did it so quick, like this that I'm filming right now is already after the fact. I've already shot this thing. So I want to, we'll jump into that, show you guys the deer, show you guys the shots that I'm taking, and what we're going to do is I'm going to boil it out. I'll cut the head off, boil it out, and we will look at it and see. This is going to be a fresh deer, freshly killed doe, straight from the field, brought it right home and did the test. So that's about as accurate to a real hunting scenario as you can get. So I'm pretty pumped to see how this turns out. So let's check it out and see. I did want to mention to you guys, if you want to pick up the Swarm Magnum or the Swarm Whisper, I'm going to put links to those in the video description so you can follow it straight to Amazon. I'm also going to put links to some of the different pellets that I'm using. That's going to be in the video description. This is the culmination right here. This is what we've all been waiting for. I have a freshly killed whitetail doe. Did not kill it with the pellet rifle because it is illegal in Virginia to kill a deer with a 22 caliber pellet rifle. But I did kill this with a rifle this morning and just brought it home. My little dude's joining me here. Just brought this doe home. You can see Riga has not even set in yet. So I am going to get set up here at 20 yards. I'm going to set up at 20 yards. Keep the test really simple. I've got some Gamo rockets and I've got some TS-22s that I'm going to use. I'm going to take 5 shots just like it's laying right here with the TS-22s on its left side of its head, and then I will flip it around, and on the right side I will take 5 shots with the Gamo rockets. And then I'm going to cut this head off, boil it, and we will look and see how the penetration does between the TS-22s and the rockets. Now again, this is a freshly killed whitetail deer doe. We just killed this morning during rifle season. I'm gonna say that it's only been dead for an hour, and brought it right home and got my camera and stuff, and we're gonna do this. So this deer was walking around an hour and a half ago. Let's see what the Gamo Swarm Magnum 22 cal will do. TS-22's coming up here on the left side of its head. Got her flipped around. Now I'm going to do the right side with the Gamo rockets. See what happens. I went back and looked at the footage. I did take a couple more shots with the TS-22 there on the other side just to make sure I had the right placement. But it looks like I did shoot one of these with the rocket a little bit high, but I know I had at least 3 really good ones right there. So definitely going to have enough to penetrate if it was going to penetrate with the TS-22 and with the rockets. So I'm not going to show you anything yet from my first round of testing. This is a different deer. I wasn't completely happy with some of my shot placements after I boiled the skull out. And I also totally forgot to try a straight on frontal shot, you know, between the eyes shot. So I have taken another doe, another big doe, as you can see. Riga has not set in as promised. This is a fresh kill during our deer season here, and I have brought this deer home, and I am going to film this test with this deer fresh like this, and we'll see what it does. Just like with the first deer, I'm going to do the rockets on the right side of the deer's face, or excuse me, on the right side of the deer's head, and then I'll do the TS-22s on the left side of the deer's head, and then I'll take some shots with both center mass between the eyes just to see if we can get some penetration there. But fresh kill doe with the Gamo Swarm Magnum. Let's give it a go. This is deer number 2. Okay, got her flipped around. This is on the left side. I'm going to hit with the TS-22s. All right, I'm going for straight on now, right between the eyes. I'm just going to use the Gamo rockets. Everybody likes the Gamo rockets. Get tons of comments about that. So here we go. Between the eyes. Well, there you go. I had to get it done by the light of my truck tonight, but that should be it. I'm feeling pretty confident that I've got some good hits out of this, between this and between the first deer. So I'm gonna get this boiled out. Through the wonder of movie editing magic, you guys will not have any time at all, but it's gonna take me a little bit of time. But I'll catch you on the flip side. Okay, finally. Jeez, this has taken forever. Partly because of my procrastination, partly because multiple other reasons. But here we go. It's the moment that all of us have been waiting for. If you've been tracking this series, and if you've just jumped on, then go back and watch the other videos. Get yourself caught up completely. So what ended up happening was, here is, got a few things I want to point out as we do this. So here is deer number one, doe number one. I was just not satisfied with, after I started editing the footage and saw a little bit better where the shot placement was, I was not happy with that. I purposefully tried to vary where I was putting my shots just because I didn't want to just shoot in the same place every single time. So I wanted to give it a little bit of a variety. But I went back and looked at the footage on deer number one, and I noticed that I just really wasn't happy with where it was. So I knew I wanted to repeat it anyway. But then it also hit me that I didn't try a between the eye shot. So it's crazy. I should have done it. So that's why I did deer number two. So here's what we've got. Let me give you the overview first, and then I'll show you the up closes and all that kind of stuff. So for deer number one, on that left side, so the left side was the TS-22s. Deer number one on the left side, TS-22s. I had a shot that glanced off the top. I had a shot that was low, but there should have been about 6 good shots that were really right in what I would have considered the boiler room. But I've got a little confusion on this. So obviously I had a hit right here. There, you can see there's no impacts in the brain cavity. So the TS-22s on deer number one, I got no penetrations into the brain cavity. But I did get a hit right here. This is broken, and I'll give you guys a better up close view here in a minute. And I've got you know, again, there's no way to know. I've got a penetration or broken bone right here as well behind that. Could have been the same shot. Either way, that is not immediately fatal. You know, that deer may die if you put something in there, but it's certainly not going to be immediately fatal. Now, I will say, before I talk about the other side, there's another hole coming through right here, and I just can't tell what the entrance and what the exit was. If I had to guess, there's a little bit more damage on the left side, so I would have to assume that it was an entrance from the right side, which means the rockets did that. So let's go ahead and look at the data from the rocket side. So, well, to summarize, the TS-22's left side, I actually had no good hits. What looked like at least 6 good shot placements actually ended up being nothing in the brain cavity, and potentially at least maybe 1 shot, maybe 2 shots. We've wounded the deer really badly, but I don't know that you would find that deer. So now the other side, the rockets on the right hand side, I had one that hit kind of low, I had one that hit high, and then we had what looked like 3 good placements. Now it really looks like, though, that this is only 1 hole in the skull right there, 1 hole in the skull. So out of 3 good placements, I got 1 penetration. Certainly there's potential that maybe I doubled up and you know, got 2 in that one hole, or maybe even 3 in that one hole. I don't think so though. That looks like 1 hole, 1 pellet. So actually, what I'm going to call on this one is this is my guess. I think the one glanced off the top, that did nothing. I think my one that was low would have been like in the bottom, toward the jaw, and it would have done nothing but really wounded the deer, non-fatal. And then I think this is certainly a fatal shot right here. I think this is one of my 3 that I called good, because if you've got all that hide on there and you get a hit right here, you're not going to know. I'm assuming that that's what busted through this and then penetrated right there. So then one of those good shots, though, did nothing. Out of a total of what I called, for both sides, 9 good hits, what looked like good placements, I only got what I'm going to call 1 fatal shot. And that was the Gamo rockets that did that. Now, before we move on, I'm going to give you guys a closer up view of this one. Okay, here you go. This is the side with the TS22s. Here's where I hit, and I think it caused some of this damage right here. Now this, just above my finger, is the hole that I think the rocket caused. That hole looks bigger than the hole on this side, so I'm assuming the exit, you know, the bullet deformed, and it was created a larger hole on the side that it exited on. So again, nothing in the actual brain cavity here, despite having what looked like some good placements. So I'm saying nothing fatal here on this side. We've got this busted there. That very likely could have also went on through and been that one. And then that absolutely would have been a fatal shot. For deer number 2, I did the same thing. Rockets on the right, TS22s on the left. Now, for deer number 2, I took, with the TS22s, I ended up with 4 good ones, and then there was one that really glanced off the top. I have nothing that I can find except one. Let me make sure I'm looking at yeah, that's the left side. I did have 1 fatal penetration right here in the brain. I'll show you really up close in a minute. So 1 out of 4 good hits, I had 1 that actually penetrated. Now going to the right side with the rockets, I had 1 glance off the top. I had 1 that kind of looked like it was in the cheek, so both of those were no good, but it did look like I had 4 good hits with those also. And I definitely had 3 at least impacts that probably would have been fatal. 2 definitely would. 2 absolutely would have. You can see there's, I'll give you the better close-up here in a second. There's 2 right there, one on top of the other in the brain cavity. And then there's 1 that came through and busted right here that penetrates into the brain cavity. So actually, on the right-hand side of that head with those Gamo rockets, I ended up out of 4 good hits. It looks like 3 of them actually would have been fatal. So hands down, we can see already that at least between the TS22s and the Gamo rockets, those Gamo rockets are really penetrating extremely well. So between both sides, that's 8 total good hits, and I've got 3 deadly penetrations out of those 8. Coincidentally, 4 of those 8 were hits from the rockets, so 3 of those 4 were really good. So we had a really good percentage running for the rockets on this particular deer. But you can notice this is, I mean, this is the money area, you know, right behind the eye, really. About 1.5 inches to 2 inches behind the eye, right behind it, straight back about 2 inches. Looks like where you're gonna, if you were to do this, which you shouldn't unless it's legal, and I don't think it's legal pretty much anywhere. It's definitely not legal where I live. But hypothetically, if you had to do this in some kind of survival situation, it's looking like about 2 inches directly behind the eye with some Gamo rockets. Now let's talk about straight on here. I took, between the eyes, I took a total of 5 shots. Now, just accidentally, I did end up stacking 4 of them basically right here, and I only had 1 of them over here. You guys could see it had got dark on me. I was filming this by the light of my truck because, as promised, I wanted a fresh deer. So I had to basically film it in the dark, and you know, it is what it is. But it looks like I ended up having, those are at least 3 shots right there. 3 places I broke the skull, right over the right eye, and then this one was better placed, yeah, over the left eye, and it was a death shot. So right here is a penetration into the skull, right between or just over the left eye, and then the right eye. You know, we at least put its eye out with 2 of those, and then 1 of them was far enough over that it was into the brain cavity. So now let me show you an up close of this. And then I want to show you some pellets, actually, that I got out of this thing's brain. Here's our one and only deadly hit with the TS-22. You can see that we had definitely two hits right here that penetrated into the skull. This is the Gamo rocket side. And then we also had this bit of trauma here, which busted into the brain cavity. So we had 3 with the Gamo rockets there. And then I took all shots with Gamo rockets on the top of the head. You can see that that's definitely, we've got 2 right here, and then that's the third one. So I would have put one's eye out with those, but it did not go into the brain cavity with those shots. That would have just put its eye out. Now this one, though, I can see is not, see, you can see through those, so that went through where the eye is. This one did bust into the brain cavity. So, but you can see that one right there. That was perfect. So, actually, we had 100% penetration for all of our shots that were up here. Hypothetically, if you had to take this in a survival situation where it was life or death, you would really want to get it right here, though, because again, you're just putting eyes out if you're busting through here. So that's the money shot right there. Now, let me show you guys something cool. Out of deer number 2, I was able to, and it was just sort of an accident, and then it caused me to be more cautious, but I did find several of the pellets. Now, it's such a mess that I really can't tell what I've got. I do have, you can see that these are the BBs. So definitely I found 2 BBs. So that was kind of cool. And they're deformed so bad, though, I can't tell anything about what the actual pellets are. But it looks like this is 3. So I'm missing a BB. So it looks like I found 3 of them maybe. But I thought that was kind of cool that I actually, literally, as I boiled it out, I found that in the brain. Don't shoot a deer with your Gamo Swarm 22 unless it's legal in your state. It's not legal in mine. I'm not doing it. I'm not going to shoot a live deer with my Gamo Swarm Magnum because it is not legal. So please check your local game laws to make sure that it's legal. I'm not condoning shooting a deer with a 22 caliber pellet rifle. This started off as a could it penetrate skull, you know, months and months and months ago, and it progressed through with the comments from different people. No, it can't. No, it can't. Yes, it can. Yes, it can. Yes, it can. I had to know. So now we know, at least on a deer, from 20 to 25 yards away, with the Gamo Swarm Magnum and the rockets, with the right placed shot, there is a good chance that you're going to penetrate into that brain cavity if you hit on that part. I'm not condoning you to do that. I'm just saying if it were life and death and you had to do it, or for some reason if it is legal in your state, then it's what would the Mythbusters say? Plausible. It's plausible that you could do it. So those of you who said nope, you can't, well, you were wrong. You can. I would add to that, however, it needs to be very, very, very precise, and you know, too, I didn't test any other pellets, so I know that I would absolutely not use the TS22s, but I would be okay using, if it were legal or if it were a survival situation and I were life and death, you know, the Gamo rockets. But so there's another problem. If you've got this other favorite pellet that you like, can it do it? I don't know, and I'm probably not doing this test again. I don't know. Never say never, I guess. But the Gamo rockets, 20-25 yards, right in the brain cavity, man. You're probably going to drop him. We've shown pretty definitively that you can do it. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I enjoyed it, even though it took me a ton of time to do this. It was pretty fun. So there you have it. I look forward to seeing all of the comments. I appreciate you guys for checking out Hunt, Shoot, Live. Go back, check our playlists out. Look at all our previous videos. Got a ton of other stuff other than air rifle stuff, so check out all of our playlists. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. I appreciate you guys. As always, God bless you. We'll see you next time.